They say the dream is the theater where the soul rehearses its truth. I had a deeply powerful dream recently. I found myself in an audience beholding a stage, a mysterious show full of wonder and suspense. It was there, upon the stage that I beheld them, impossibly beautiful beings, alien, frightful, and ravishing. They moved with a grace and geometry that did not belong to this world. Their skin was pure white, their figures human-like, yet longer, more flexible, somehow more beautiful in a strange way. They were painted in rainbowed oil slicks and wore costumes evocative of a courtroom jester. Alien and beautiful, their dancing and gymnastics were impossible. The manner in which they contorted themselves and glided across the stage, as if there was no gravity, was strange and mystifying. They dazzled the crowd into a curious unease. None of us were quite sure if we loved what we saw, or if we were horrified, perhaps both. And in that strange, alluring way that only that which is beyond your understanding can, we were pulled to them. None could look away. I looked around at the people in the crowd sitting around me. Their faces were twisted in a rictus of bewilderment and fear, yet pleasure curled at their lips. Beneath the snarled impressions on their face was a longing. They looked at the stage the way a rabbit looks at a snake, repulsed, yet bewitched. Eyes locked upon them as they moved about the stage. Their movements, these beautiful alien beings, were burning into our minds, a tattoo we would never forget. I felt a strange joy. It was nearly erotic. But as I looked around and saw the horror on the other people's faces, I felt a sickness rise in my throat, a desire that I did not understand. I felt like a lie. I felt that the desire had somehow made me separate from everyone else, and I felt terror for a moment. And in that strange way that only dreams can, suddenly I was alone. The same stage, the same bizarre auditorium. And in the privacy of my quiet stage, I tried to mimic them. But my movements were jagged, forced. I was too heavy, too solid. I could not reproduce the grace and the beauty with which they flowed across the stage like linen sheets cast into a river. There was a tightness wrapping my body, a suffocation that I had never noticed until I had tried to emulate these alien beings and their mystifying movements. I struggled against myself, and in the dream, in that impossible place, I suddenly beheld a cold metal around my neck, a zipper. It seemed my skin was not my skin, rather a costume, a suit of flesh. I had zipped up so tight that I had forgotten I had ever put it on. Persona, a mask fused to my body, something I had outgrown. And in this dream I realized I had a choice. I could remain suffocated, stifled, rigid, but safe, small, invisible to the people in the crowd. Or I could be free. I clasped the zipper in my hands, and suddenly I was no longer in my body, but watching myself from the outside. The sound was like thunder in a library as I drew the zipper down and unfolded from inside of my own skin. There was a sense of relief, like the first breath of air after almost drowning, like the loosening of a corset that had been crushing me for a lifetime. I beheld myself from the outside perspective, and I expanded. A silhouette spilled out, dark and viscous, the raw viscera of something like a butterfly. I grew wings and became iridescent, beautiful, my skin white like the surface of the moon, my body elegant, agile, more slender, alien, just like them. I was one of the beings on the stage now, a beautiful, sensuous nightmare. And as I marveled at my new shape and began to dance, unbeknownst to me, in the theater of this dream, a crowd was gathering. And while I was lost in the sensuous, erotic grace of my own movement, they gathered. They approached with the same confused expressions. And in them, once I saw them finally, I saw the impulse to destroy that which they could not understand, as if I was a witch to be burned at the stake, an anomaly, something they must forsake and destroy. And yet beneath all this horror, I also saw hunger. They were transfixed. I realized then, in the dream, that I did not know if they would kill me or applaud. I stopped. I stood there, a towering impossibility. I no longer cared if I burned. This power, this real form, my true self, was something I would have gladly died for if it meant I could dance one last time. But before our stare down could end, before the climax of the tale could be had in the dream, I awoke. I don't think I've ever been more frustrated at the sound of my own alarm. Dreams tell us many things, yet I was transfixed by this one. It felt more vivid, more real than my other dreams. I am someone that dreams regularly, and I usually write them down, but I felt called to make something more this time. I feel this dream was speaking about my shadow. We treat our darkness like dust to be swept away. We all construct a mask to fit in, to be seen and accepted, safely integrated into the world around us. We try to be the best we can, to color inside the lines, to do what we are told. This dream was a call from my soul. I have decided that I must renew shadow work, yet with a different approach. Like many, I imagine, shadow work was about fixing and healing. I had all these parts of myself locked away that needed to be scrubbed clean or repaired in some way. And now I see the error in that judgment. I wish for the shadows to transform me. I wish to truly integrate, not tame. I do not wish to domesticate the creatures that live inside me. Rather, I hope to sit by the fire, to embody what they have to offer, to allow them to devour me. There is something sensuous and dark, like the vampire-esque allure of old horror films. The siren's call, that thing that is impossibly beautiful out of the corner of your eye, hiding in the shadows. That thing we are all hungry for. That thing that is so much more vast than I am now. And so, I make this video as an invitation. Unzip yourself. We do not become evil, we become whole. And wholeness is a force of nature, something that will change us all. And I have committed also to making strange art, to try and capture this unusual beauty that I have discovered in dream. I hope it awakens something in me. And more so, I hope it awakens something in you, too. I believe we profoundly misunderstand what darkness is for as a society. It is not something that needs to be transformed. It is merely something that must be beheld and seen as beautiful once more. I think only then will we be whole enough to move forward, to build a better world, to truly evolve.